Hello, hello everyone. This is T from Oz Paper Crafts. Today we're going to be making happy birthday cards using the Cake Day stamp set that just came out as part of the online exclusives in November. So this is a super fun set. It comes with the stamps and the dies, and it makes these beautiful, beautiful cards. So what I love about them is that they're kind of fun foldish and that you can open up the cake to see the sentiment in addition to having a sentiment stamped inside the card because I mounted them on a card base. So we're going to use both the Cake Day stamps and dies as well as these sentiments from the Not 29 Anymore stamp set, which are super fun and I think they're just hilarious. So they're meant to make fun of people who might be a little bit older. So it's got, really funny sayings like, I don't know about you, but I don't feel 29 anymore. So many candles. Let's get this party started so I can home be 9. Older, but still cool. Treat yourself because I didn't get you anything. Here's to another year of questionable decisions. So just really fun, hilarious sentiments for cards for my friends as they get older. So we're going to use these stamps and then also this Cake Day stamp set and the dies. Before we get started, so I had these two samples. So this one I did with cardstock from my stash from Close to My Heart. I did these, and then this one I did using the celebratory. This one's more masculine. I really liked it because it used the colors Cloud. So I got this from the Celebratory Sips paper pack, and surprisingly it's the flip side of this. And again, I liked it because it looked very fun and festive, and it's one of the new colors called Cloud Cover, and I really like Cloud Cover. It's a nice neutral color, and again, paired with the chocolate frosting and the chocolate cake, it just looked very masculine and fun. So we're going to be making these. So before we get to the fun stuff of cutting everything out and the stamping, I wanted to actually just go through all the dies that you get, because in a set like this where there's a ton of dies, it can be kind of confusing as to what each of these things are. So I thought I would spend the time to walk you through what all the dies are and what they do. So this one is the main cake die. So this one here. So it cuts out like this and then you fold it. So that's the main piece. And then the other main piece, the next main piece is the frosting. This is the frosting layer. So that cuts out this dark brown chocolate piece here. And so the first thing we have to do when we're making our cake is to decide what flavor of cake we want and what color frosting we want to have. So those are the two main pieces. And then the other pieces are really all of these little fun pieces used to decorate the cake, including the candles and the flag. So the flag is obvious. And then there's two different types of candles. So there's this type, which I really like. I use them because they just have a fun wavy texture to them. So there's these. But then there's also these here, which are just regular candles, and you can actually stamp. It comes with a coordinating stamp that you stamp on top of these. So you can have die candles in different colors that you die cut out. But then the other pieces, I'm going to just set this here so you can see it as reference. So we have this here, which looks really funky, just looking at it plain. But that's what cuts out this frosting here, this frosting layer. And then you stamp on top of it. So it comes with two, one for the top and one for the bottom, as I have in this example. And then there's these sort of like, I don't know what they're called. I'm sure there's a fancy baking name for them. Cream puff type dies here. They almost look like turrets atop of a building. So there's two of those. And then these are the macaroons, or as my better half asked me, why is there a hamburger on my cake card? So here's the macaroon. So lesson learned, don't use yellow combined with dark chocolate. It looks like a hamburger. But anyway, and so I may actually use these in the summer as for hamburgers on a summer barbecue layout or something. So these are the macaroons, and then they come with fillings. So you cut out the fillings, and I'll show you how to assemble these. There's not a trick to it, but it's not quite obvious just right out of the bag. So I'll show you how to do those. The other interesting piece of the cake, which I don't have an example of, is sort of this drippy dye that you put on to make it look like, when you cut this out, it looks like the icing is dripping on the side here. So that'll be a different project. I'm not going to do that one today, but that's what this piece is. And to me, that wasn't totally obvious. And then I saw some projects. I was like, oh, that's how that works. And this is a sentiment piece that you can have. So you could actually put happy birthday on this sentiment die piece. And then these here, there are different layers to making sparkly candles. So this one here, this die piece, this is the one you use if you want to stamp sort of this burst on there. There's a stamp that coordinates with this. But what I use to get these like layered sparkle ones, which I use matte mirror cardstock and glitter cardstock for, I used this piece and this layered over top of that. So these two pieces. And then lastly, the other piece, which I don't have shown on this card, but it's these I think are just fun confetti type dies that you use for if you want to decorate the cake using these like star shapes. So I didn't actually do that with this one. So okay, let's get started. Again, these are the two samples. We're just gonna make one of these today. So we've gone through the die pieces. Now we need to pick out what cardstock we want to use. And I'm going to use papers from the Turtley Cute collection that is in the annual catalog. So they're available all the time. And this set was pretty, I felt like it was pretty summery. So it had sort of a turtle theme to it, but it had like these summer peepers. But then there was kind of a birthday theme or party theme to it. So you had, oh, you had the backyard barbecue turtles. But then there were also some turtles that that were birthday-ish in style. So these guys here. So hence you got a few sheets of paper that I thought were sort of birthday-ish or very festive. So I'm gonna go with the dots here on this one. And then the red in this is called, I'm still getting myself accustomed to the names, but the coordinating red dot in this is, I think it's cherry cobbler, or it could be, I was thinking of the poppy one, but I actually am really totally in love with strawberry slush. So I'm going to use strawberry slush because I think it's close enough. It's sort of in between cherry cobbler and it goes really well with the pink. So I think this will work just fine. So the card I have in mind is for my mom. So I think this will have like a nice feminine tone to it. And then we can bring in sort of pink frosting. And I'll probably end up doing a vanilla cake as well. So first thing we want to do is we want to cut these to our card base. And we are using the standard card base. So, which I've already cut out the card base. So the standard size is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So the first thing we want to do is cut this base to 4 1/4 to 5 1/2. Sorry guys, didn't mean to hit the camera there. Okay. So 5 1/2, I'm gonna cut this. And this is just the, I should have pointed out, this is just the Strawberry Slush 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. So it's not two-toned. Some of them are two-toned and this one is not. So 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. Okay. I love my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer. It just cuts so cleanly and so easily. And then this, the matte piece would then be 4 by 5 1/4. So just a 1/4 inch less. So 4 inches. Oops. And actually, I should have pointed out, one of the other reasons I chose this, not just because of the sort of festive look to it and the party dots, but the other side of it is these scenes or these sort of PML cards, which I didn't think I was going to use. I might use the B one, but I didn't feel I would be using any of these, which is why I wanted to just go ahead and use this side of the cardstock. So 4 by 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and glue that on. Let me get rid of this with my tape runner. And when I'm doing cards, I like to give the entire side. Oh, this is a brand new tape runner I have. Okay, it is open. I like to give the entire side of this some glue. Oh, something's wrong. Okay, there. Okay, because these are cards and they are meant to be sort of manhandled by the recipient. So I want to make sure I have a lot of glue so this doesn't pop off. So I give it a lot of, several runs of tape on that. And then I just kind of eyeball this so it has about 1/4 inch border all the way around. Great. Okay, so we'll set that aside. Now we want to decide what kind of cake we want to have and the kind of frosting. I'm not going to show you how to do die cutting. I've already die cut a number of pieces that we have to choose from for this. And most of them coordinate with this paper and cardstock. So here's the cake layers I have cut. I have strawberry and lemon and vanilla and sort of a chocolatey or mocha type cake. And I think for this one, I'm probably going to do a vanilla cake. I haven't done a vanilla cake yet. I did a chocolate and I've done a lemon. No, actually, I already did the vanilla cake. So maybe this one I'll do the lemon. So we'll do the lemon for this one. Okay, so lemon. And then we need to decide what kind of frosting we want. So for the masculine one, I had cut these blue ones, but I have, let's see, not that one. I have either, this is the two sides, or no, this is, I have two different kinds of strawberry. So I have the darker strawberry slush type that would go, let me just see how this will look. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this. And actually this goes like, okay, so the trick for this is that, nope, it's this side. Okay, so the trick for this in assembling this is that you want to look for the corners. So the rounded corner is in the upper left side, and you can't see it on my sample because I've already covered it over, but you just remember that these rounded corners are upper left. So you fold this, you look for the rounded corner, that has to be on your left side, and that's how you know how to line this up. And see how these edges line up then? So this is a super lemony cake. Actually, a little bit too lemony. Let's do it a little bit lighter lemon. Again, I love the two-tone cardstock. So this is the super strawberry frosting, like that. That's kind of a lot of strawberry. Let's see, how about the lighter strawberry? Yep, okay. Yeah, I like that the lighter pink better. So we'll put this aside for another time. So with this one, I recommend actually gluing this down now, because everything else, when we're lining this up, all of these stamps here need to line up, and you need to have this piece in place so you know how to line up the stamps so they line up correctly. So let's go ahead and glue this down. And again, I use a generous amount of tape from the tape runner. Okay. So glue this down because we don't want this popping off. Okay. And also, this kind of goes without saying, but make sure that you got it opening in the correct direction. You don't want to glue it down and find out that you've got it opening in the wrong direction. Okay. So now I like to do all of my stamping at the same time. So we're going to stamp all these layers here, and we're also going to stamp the decorations, and we'll stamp the sentiments. We'll stamp the inside sentiment, both the inside of this card and the inside here that we have. So I want to go ahead and get all the stamping out of the way because I like to get all my inky fingers first. The other thing I should mention about this project is because there are so many pieces and parts to this, some really essential tools are going to be our Stampin' Up. So you'll need the pokey tool to, when you do the die cutting, to poke out some of the pieces. But then also the pickup tool is going to be super handy when we need to pick up pieces out of this tray, especially like these little pieces here. So this is super, super handy and makes this project go so much easier is with this tool. You also need a really good set of tweezers, and I don't know what brand these are. I've had them forever. I've had these probably 20 years, but they're really strong. I don't know if you can see on my finger how hard they grip my finger. These are great because you'll need to hold on to some things pretty tightly in order to glue them together, so I'll show you. But these are a really good pair of tweezers to make this project what am I trying to say? Go much easier. And then the third thing that is really required is some fine tipped glue. And I don't think it matters which kind you use. I happen to have precision craft glue on hand. I had run out and Stampin' Up! Didn't have any in stock. So anything with a fine tip on it is gonna make this project much easier to do. Okay, so back to stamping. I'm gonna stamp using Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink. I actually like how these came out on this one. So I'll use the Pretty in Pink stamp as well. Or Pretty in Pink ink, I should say. So first let's do the cake, because I think the cake is probably the hardest in my opinion. So, because we have to do each one of these layers and then the sprinkles. So again, these are the stamps. Let me get a piece of paper so you can see the stamps. I need a piece of cardstock. Where's my Strawberry Slush when I need it? Ah, here we go. Okay. Now you should be able to see these a little bit better. So I'm gonna peel this layer off. And then the first pieces we're gonna need, and it's better to have, if you have several stamping blocks, it also makes this go much more quickly. So I'm gonna mount these on a couple of different stamping blocks that I have. Because we'll need, this is one of the layer pieces. So we'll need this piece. We'll need this piece here. This is the cake layer here that we're gonna stamp. So I'm gonna put that, because we're gonna use these more than once. Okay. And then, yep, that's all I need for the moment. I'll come back to, well, we also need this piece, but we'll come back to that. So I'm gonna set these aside for now, and let's just focus on the cake layer. So we're gonna stamp these lines here, the middle layer here, and we're just gonna repeat that all the way up to show the 3 layers of the cake. So I'm gonna do that in Strawberry Slush. I'm still getting used to these stamp cases. I was so spoiled with our other stamp cases that we had with Close to My Heart. Okay, so this one, and actually let's do a practice run before we actually stamp this on the card. I want to show you how these layers work, and let's just do this without having to worry about lining it up exactly on the cake. So let's just practice using these stamps. Okay, so I've got my ink. So I'm gonna have the dark layer. Actually, we need to decide which layers we want. So I'm gonna do this in the Strawberry Slush. Let's see what that looks like. So getting some ink on here. And this one, actually that is not straight. So let me just, okay. So one of the things one of my little cheat tips is I set these on my grid mat or a grid piece of paper, anything that has a straight line, if you have a ruler or whatever, and then I will use the block to pick it up. So now I know it's on the block straight, and I know these blocks have like a line on there or something, but it's hard for me to see the line, so this is my little cheat stuff that I use. And let me just make sure I have a baby wipe handy, because sometimes this ink gets a little messy. So okay, got one of those handy. Okay. So in practicing with the cake, let's do it this way so you can see. Okay. So first I want to stamp this layer like this. Actually, let me move you a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing with that. Okay. Then we want to stamp this next layer here, stamping it right above that line that we just made. Okay. And then another one like that. Got to get over the top of it. It's a little bit hard to see. I'm gonna actually stand up to do this. Okay, that. And then this here. Okay, so actually this isn't very contrasty. I think I'd like it to be a little bit more contrasty than the 2 different pinks. And maybe it'll look different on the yellow, but I think I'm gonna introduce a chocolate layer. So let's get out pecan pie, because I think we need some chocolate in this cake somewhere. So maybe we can do these layers in chocolate, the middle layer in chocolate, and see how that looks. So let's try that. This is why I like to experiment, so we can see how this is gonna turn out. Okay. So let's do the layers in chocolate and see. Okay, pecan pie. Okay. This. And then we'll do this in pecan pie. Like that. Yeah. Okay. So how's that gonna look with the yellow? Nope, I'm just gonna I should have stuck with my original plan. So my original plan, let's just go with this pink and stick with that. So we're just gonna do the light colored pink, the pretty in pink on the yellow cardstock. Okay, so let's get all the chocolate off our stamp. Be good to go. Yep, we are. Okay, great. And then we'll do the strawberry for the confetti is what we'll end up doing. So I'm just gonna do these layers in the pretty in pink layer. Okay, so here's my cake. Now this is the fun part. So I'm gonna stamp this up on my pretty in pink. Now what you wanna do is you want to, all right, can everybody see that? Let me move you in a little closer. Okay. You want to line these up so that this bottom line here lines up with this. So you're at a little bit of an angle, okay? So we're just gonna do it. This is what I love about our Claremont stamps. Just gonna do it like that. Yep, perfect, okay. Then we take our middle layer and we put that right above the line, again, at a little bit of a slant. And it doesn't have to be right on the line. It can be a little bit above depending on how thick you want the layers to be. So what I'm talking about is, see how this one is a little bit above the line, but then this one's a little bit closer and I didn't quite space them out right. It's okay, it doesn't have to be a perfect science, but I just wanted to point that out. Okay, then we do this one again because we're doing a 3-layer cake, like so. And the middle layer, like so. And then we should have room for one more layer. And this one I'm going to try to align with this top frosting line here. And again, add a slant. Okay, great. Totally happy with that. All right, now we need some of the sprinkles. So we're gonna do the sprinkly layer here in between these layers. So here's my sprinkle stamp here. This one here, can you see it? Sorry, I know I've got you a little bit close here. So we're just gonna use this one. That on here. And this is where I'm going to use the strawberry slush because I want to have a bit deeper pink for that. Oops. Sometimes I get ink on these blocks. Okay. And then we'll stamp here. Okay. Oops. These ink pads are so juicy, I end up sometimes picking up ink on the edge of the blocks. Okay. Lastly, I love how this looks. It's making me hungry. Okay, great. I really like how this is turning out. That looks wonderful. Okay, so setting this aside, I don't need this stamp anymore. So now I want to move on to stamping these pieces here. So this is the the fancy frosting edge, you know, the goodiness stuff, the stuff that when you were a little kid, you stuck your finger in. So we're going to do that. I don't know what they're called. I'm not a baker. But the coordinating stamp is this here. It looks almost like, I feel like it looks like seashells. And maybe I'm just saying that because you all know I'm a scuba diver. Actually, do I have a smaller block for that? Nope, that won't fit. Okay, let's use this block. Okay, and then let's get our pieces. I'm going to set our cake aside here for the moment and get our frosting pieces. So I think I want to use the white. So again, this pickup tool is so handy. So we're going to use the white and we'll just stamp it in pink. Yeah, I'm going to stamp it in the pretty in pink. So the trick to this is, again, looking at these like seashells butted up against each other. You want sort of the wave action to be on the top. That's how you're going to line this up. So you want to make sure that you have the wavy action. So here, I'll show you. You want to make sure the wave crests are on the top and that the wave stamps. So that's how they'll line up. Okay. So another way to remember it is sort of the super roundy, almost full circle part. Oops, sorry, my thumb's in the way here. The super rounded one is to the right and the more pointy end of this is to the left. We have 2 of those to stamp. Okay, I've already seasoned these stamps, so I know that they're going to stamp just fine. Just make sure I have enough ink. So lining up my waves. Okay. Yep, great. Let's do that again. Perfect. Okay, so let's set our frosting aside. We're going to be gluing that on shortly. And then I want to continue with finishing up all the things we're going to stamp. So if we're going to do a happy birthday flag, I want to stamp this sentiment and then these sentiments too. Because again, I like to get my inky fingers all out of the way. And the other thing, oh, you know, actually what else I wanted to do? I wanted to make this a sprinkle cake. Okay, so I want to stamp this. I want to give this outside edge all sprinkles here. It's probably too much, but I really like it. So I'm going to get my big block for that. Okay, and again, my trick is to make sure the sort of rounded part is on the left. That's how you know which way it's going to go. So I'm just going to lay it down here and then pick it up like that. Okay, and I'm going to stamp that on this here using my Strawberry Slush ink. Okay, tap, tap, tap. You don't have to work too hard to get the ink on this. Okay. Then, oops. All right. And so then, and this one you don't have to be so precise about lining up because there's a generous amount of room on this. Okay. Okay. Well, that didn't stamp quite how I wanted it, but that's okay. We're going to be putting lots of decorations on this, so I'm not going to worry too much about it because there's going to be a lot of frosting and stuff that will cover up that piece there, and there's going to be a lot of stuff going on up here. So anyway, this is going to look great. It's going to turn out just fine. Okay, so lastly, let's get to sentiment stamping. So I have, let's see, again, looking at the sentiments we have to choose from. We have happy birthday, let's celebrate, congrats with this, make a wish, yay, and happy cake day. So for the flag, let's pick out a flag color. What should we pick? Let's go with, let's see. We just do a plain, we can just do a white flag. That might pop out really well. Let me just move you back a little bit. Okay. I think the yellow is going to be too much yellow, so I don't want to do that. How about the strawberry? Yeah, I think the Strawberry Slush, again, Strawberry Slush wins. I love it. Okay. I just love Strawberry Slush. So we'll do happy birthday again because I everybody in my family is born at the end of the year, so this is a super busy time of year for us, so I can't make enough birthday cards right now. Okay. So in this one, so again, I'm going to use Strawberry Slush. This card I have in mind for my mom, so hopefully it'll turn out and I'll feel like giving it to her the way I want it to. Okay, happy birthday. Great, got that out of the way. Okay, then I think on the inside, for the others I did Make a Wish, or I could do Yay or Happy Cake Day. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do Yay, which I have not used this one before. So, all right, putting Yay on a block. And again, I always season the stamps. So we've talked about how to season stamps before, but again, you just want to get sort of that plastic coating off. Not all the stamps have much of a plastic coating, but some of them do. And you don't want to find out the hard way by trying to stamp right on your project and not getting a good clear stamped image. So again, yep, this one's great. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp that on the inside here. Yay. Oh, no. Okay, that works. It's got a little bit of a shadow, but that's okay. I think it looks almost like brushed ink. I like it. Okay. Probably should have given it a little bit more pressure. Okay, moving on. Lastly, I want to stamp the inside of my card. So again, using stamps from the 29 and more set, which again is a little bit punchy. I find the humor perfect. So we have so many candles, happy birthday. I don't know about you, but I don't feel like 29 anymore. It's all fun and games so your metabolism slows down. Let's get this party started so I can be home by 9. Let's see, what would my mom like? How about it's all fun and games till your metabolism slows down? I think my mom will get a kick out of that. So we'll put that. I probably should have put that one in on the cake, but we'll do it on the main one. And I haven't used this one before, so again, I need to season it. That one fits on here. Ooh, let's get that out of the way. And where's my scratch paper? So, and I think I'm going to use the Pretty in Pink ink for this one on that, because this is going to be stamping on white. Oh, where's my card base? Oh, we didn't glue this onto the card base yet. Maybe we should do that. We should definitely do that. Okay, so I always like to line up the corners. It is scored, but sometimes I don't score it right or it doesn't come scored correctly. So I always want to just make sure that these corners line up. Okay, and then bone folder to give it a nice solid crease there. Okay, I'm gonna stamp this on using a generous amount from the tape runner so it doesn't pop off when somebody's opening it or putting it on their mantle. You don't want it to come undone. Okay, great. And then this, there won't be a border on this. You want to line this all the way to the edge. Okay, great. Okay, stamping a sentiment on the inside. And this sentiment I have not used before. So I want to go ahead and give it a little bit of a practice run with my scratch paper. Okay, so again, using Pretty in Pink ink. Okay, it's all fun and games until your metabolism slows down. And I think I want Strawberry Slush ink. Yep, perfect. Okay. Put that on there. Okay, I wish it was a little bit bigger, but that's okay. And then I want to do the happy birthday. No, let's do Happy Cake Day. I think that will be funny. It's all fun and games so your metabolism slows down. Happy Cake Day. because we did the happy birthday on the flag, which will be on the front. So let's do happy cake day. And that, will that fit on this block? No. Okay, let's do that one on this block. Okay. Yeah, I got to go to my standby trick, which is to set it here in the way I want it, and then pick it up with the block. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to practice this one. I have used it, I believe. Practice this. Yep, great. Okay. Okay. Oh, got a little bit on the corner. A little bit on there. These are so juicy. Okay. Happy cake day. Ta-da! I love it. Okay. Any more stamping? So we've stamped the cake. We've stamped the frosting bits we have here. We stamped the flag. We stamped the inside. Oh, I actually love how I did that starburst sort of fun. Oh, and on this one I did that. That was kind of cool. Let's do that again on this. Okay. I did not take that off the block. Okay, so I just thought to give this a little bit of, I don't know, something, something. I just liked that sort of underlined look to that to separate the two. So let's do that with the light, the pretty in pink, to make it pretty in pink, like this. Just enough room. Yep, I love it. Okay. And again, I got a little bit of ink there, but I'm not going to worry about it. This is homemade. Okay, and then the starburst. I want to do some of these starburst things. That is from the, that was this thing here. And this coordinates, I think I was telling you, this sunburst star coordinates with one of the dies. Let me see if I can find the die to show you that again. That is this here. If you were to cut out something with this, you could stamp this on it. I'm not going to do that with this card. I'm just going to stick with the starburst itself. And I think I want to use, I want to use a little bit of a lighter yellow. I think I used Cajun Crush for this, but you know, one of the, it's not really a yellow, but one of the ones I really like is the, I'm just going to close these up because they're so juicy. I don't want to stick my fingers in them accidentally. I like, this is one of my standby favorites. Shortbread. Shortbread and I have had a long love affair. I just love it. I just love how it's this really nice neutral. So when you don't want something that's too bright or too goldy, shortbread saves the day. So let me find the correct block to put that on here. Try it on my sample paper, but I think this is really, well, I don't know. Let's go back to honey butter or Cajun Craze. Honey butter is what I have on my desk. That's what we're going to go with. Okay. Sorry, shortbread. Maybe shortbread went well with the chocolate cake. So maybe with this one, we really do want to go with a buttery look. Okay, yep, let's stick with the buttery look. So we'll do just kind of random. There, I think that's good. We don't need to go overboard. And the same with the inside of this. This is almost tone on tone with this Cajun Craze. Okay, great. Love it. Okay, so I think we're done with ink. So I'm going to move all these inks aside, get those out of the way, and all my stamps, which I will clean later. Just want to get them out of the way so we don't get more ink all over the place. Okay, those are out of the way. And I think now I am going to go ahead and mount this. So one of the things we have to be mindful of on this is how much you're going to decorate, how much you plan to put on the top here, because this flag needs a decent amount of real estate. Otherwise you have to cut it down, which for the candles, I did actually have to cut those down to make them work. So we're gonna put this cake down here. If you're not gonna have too much on the top here, like if you're not gonna do the candles or flags, and you're just gonna have like the macaroons on top and some of the frosting, then you can make this more centered. But since I'm gonna have a ton of stuff coming out of the cake, I'm gonna put this down towards the bottom. I actually like where this one was placed, so let's kind of line it up how I did that. And just to give you a quick measurement on that. So that was, I don't know, let's call it 1/2 inch from the bottom. Yeah, I'm gonna say 1/2 inch from the bottom. So I'm gonna line that up. So using my tape runner. I like to use a tape runner when I have to go over a large surface area, and I use my precision glue when I have a smaller pieces to glue. Okay, great. Now for the other pieces, let's pick out how we want to decorate this cake. Okay, so we already have our flag, which actually that happy birthday kind of blends in. It'll be fine, it'll be fine. Okay, and then we have these two pieces which go here. And then let's see, oops, sorry. Let's see what else we have to choose from out of our collection here of things I've already cut out. So we definitely want to do macaroons. So let's pick out what macaroons we want to have. Okay, so I think, let's do, I for sure want a strawberry macaroon, which would need a strawberry filling. And then maybe do a light, is it gonna be too much yellow? How about a chocolate one? Yep, let's do a chocolate with pink filling. And do we have room? Yeah, I think 2 macaroons is good. Let's just go with those 2. And then because we have colored macaroons, I was gonna do these pink ones, but I think it's gonna be too much pink. So let's just stick with traditional sort of white, what do you call this? Is this meringue pieces? I don't know what they're called. I'm not a baker, but, well, I do bake, but I bake things like chocolate chip cookies. I don't do fancy cake decorating. Okay, so now this piece, before we start gluing stuff down, oh, let me show you how to put these macaroons together. This is where the tweezers come in handy and your precision glue. So make sure your precision glue is ready to go. And mine is already clogged. Oh, no, they're good. It didn't clog up. I made sure it wasn't clogged before we started, and sometimes it clogs really quickly. So I'm just gonna hold the macaroon with my tweezers. Actually, I'm gonna hold on this because I'm right-handed. And then, so you have the sort of like hamburger type bun, and then you're gonna stick the middle frosting just inside, and you keep pushing it. I think my tweezers might be in the way. Nope, they're not. Okay. Just keep pushing it all the way in until you see the dotted layer. Again, actually it'd be easier. I think I can hold this with my fingers, but keep pushing it all the way in, okay? So it's only gonna go up to about there, and I'll have enough, but you wanna make sure you can see the whole dotted line. Okay, so again, holding my tweezers again, now we're gonna glue this in place with our precision glue. Let me see if I can zoom in so you can see how I do this. Okay, push that out of the way. And then I just stick the fine tipped glue underneath that. Oops. Okay. I just put a little bit of glue underneath that, so you can see that, not a whole lot. Just a little bit, stick that down, and then I also do a little bit of glue on the edge here. So really just right above those dots. Okay. Did everybody see that? I don't know if the camera was close enough for you to see that. Is it too blurry? Maybe the light's getting in the way. All right, I'll try not to create a shadow. Okay. All right, let's do this other one. Okay, so I have my macaroon piece here, and then we're gonna stick the frosting in this way, right? And we're gonna stick it as far in as we can until we see the dots on the bottom. Okay, and then, oops, actually I find it easier to do with my fingers for some reason. My frosting got a little bit lopsided. Okay, so we can see the dots. Okay, so I think this guy's in as far as he's gonna go. And then, again, the tweezers are just a little bit easier for when we're gluing. This one does not want to seem to stay in. So let's glue the bottom first. A little bit of glue. Oops, I'm off camera, sorry. A little bit of glue on the bottom here. Okay, can you see that? Oh, shoot. Okay, that's all right. It's all right. Okay, stick my hamburger. I keep calling it a hamburger, that's terrible. My jelly-filled center back in like that, okay? And then we're gonna glue it on top to keep it in place. So again, I'm just going to bend this and stick the tip underneath there. So you don't need a whole lot of glue, just a little bit. Okay, so did you see how I got a little bit of glue in there? If you can see the weight there. Anyway, that's how we're doing it. Okay. All right, so our 2 macaroons are done. Very happy with those. Setting those aside. The first thing I'm gonna do with this though, let's see, let's get this flag glued down. Get him out of the way. So put the flag here. And I'm not gonna pop this up. I found it just easier not to pop it up because otherwise you have the flagpole. This is hard to put foam tape on and you've got the flagpole kind of flying all over the place. So I'm just gonna glue this down as it is. A little bit of glue on the flagpole, like so. Okay. And then stick this down. Like that. Okay. All right. Actually, I want to trim that. If I hadn't glued it down, I could have tucked it behind, but I didn't. So I'm just going to trim this a little bit. Okay, snip, done. A little bit of glue. Okay, got that down. Okay. Actually, I think the sun has gone down. Let me try to move this light in a little bit closer. Okay. Now, these frosting bits, or whatever you call them, for those of you that decorate cakes and bake, you know what these are called. I call them frosting bits. These, you want to be careful that you can still open the cake. So you don't want to have them over here, because otherwise when you open the cake, you won't be able to open it. So you can see on this one, I kind of didn't get it far enough over. I don't know if you can tell, it started to bend here a little bit, which is okay. I'm not like super worried about it, but that's why you don't want to get it like all the way over to the edge. It might look kind of cool like this, but then they won't be able to open this. So if you didn't do a cake that opens and you just did this front part, you don't have to worry about that. But because I did do one that opens, we want to make sure that we get our frosting bits, oops, like this. And with the frosting bits, you can do them with the wave up like that, but I think they're meant to look more like clamshells laying down. So again, I'm a diver, so I kind of relate everything to the sea, but sort of like your clamshells laying down. So the wavy action part is actually pointing towards the bottom. I actually stamped these upside down because that's how I found it easiest to do. Okay, so I'm gonna get some foam tape and we're gonna pop those up. Okay, so let's do that with my Stampin' Up! Dimensionals here. We'll do 3 of these. I love how these are already pre-cut for you. I have a roll of foam tape that I cut, but it's so much easier just to grab these right off the sheet. Okay, this. this, and I do all three because again, you don't want these things popping off, or you don't want them like caving in, because the people that get these are not necessarily paper crafters, and they don't know that you have to be gentle with paper. They sort of manhandle things. So you definitely want to make them as sturdy as possible. So I'm going to stick that like that so it won't impede. So again, this is still going to touch, but it won't impede getting it open. Okay. This, wonderful. All right, push that towards the bottom a little bit. Okay, great. Yeah. All right, it might fold a little bit, but no big deal. Okay. I wonder, okay, so because I sort of like didn't get that stamped entirely cleanly, I wonder if I put some of these down here, how that would look. If I did these down here, and then my macaroons up at the top. I love these macaroons. Oh my God, these are so cute. So, so cute. I don't know. Let's see if we had a couple more of those, if it would be too much real estate taken up. Okay. I like my cream puffy things at the top too. Okay. It's a lot of cream puffs, but I like it. All right, and we'll put our macaroons down here. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue those on, and then we'll get to the candles. And the candles, I felt, are the trickiest part. Okay, let me glue these guys on. I'm not, well, actually, you know what? I will pop these up. All right, let's do that really quickly. Okay, am I stamping up dimensionals? And I'm thankful I have fingernails. Otherwise, you could use the tweezers. Help get these the backings off of these as well. Okay, that. Right. Oh, scrumptious. Okay, wonderful. Let's pop these up. Again, I'm super generous with all this stuff because I don't want, oops, very sticky. I don't want these caving or popping off if someone isn't gentle with it. Okay. Okay, get that in there. Okay, yeah, I want these kind of overlapping a little bit. Okay, great. Put those little thingies aside. I'm gonna go ahead, let's see. I'm gonna put glue down, oh, I did get that stickiness on my nail. Okay, I am gonna go ahead and glue that one down and then just pop this one up. I just don't want it to get in the way of the card opening, which is why I don't wanna pop this one up because I think it might get in the way. So let's just put this down using some glue. Okay, that there. Ta-da! And this. Okay. Another thing that's a good trick too is if you don't think you got enough glue, is make sure you put the dimensionals over this crease so that your jelly filled, or whatever the filling is for macaroons, I think it's a jelly-ish type substance of yumminess. Make sure you put the foam tape over, the dimensionals over that line. And we're just gonna put that kind of like that. I like it a little bit at an angle. Gives it some interest. Okay, wonderful. We are almost done. Okay, so now for the tricky part, which to me was the candles. The candles were the hardest part when I was doing these other examples. So we'll do yellow candles. That's what I have cut out. Again, my pickup tool here. best thing ever. Total game changer for me. Oh, and then I wanted to pick out some sparkly stuff for the candles. Let's just do 2 candles. Sparkly bits. I don't think I have, oh no, I do have this glitter piece. I think this glitter piece is going to be too big. Yeah, I don't have any of this cut in the gold. So, do I have even 2 of them? I don't think I do. I think I needed to do some more cutting. Ah, what's this? What is this? Nope, looks like a different matte mirror color. Okay, I need to restock that bin. Okay, well, we're going with what we got. And what we got is gold. So we'll put these here like this. Yeah, the candles I had to cut down because they're just too long. And I already glued this down, so I can't tuck them behind. So that's okay. We'll just cut down a couple of rungs off the candles. They'll be fine. Okay. That. All right, so the candles I can put here. I'm not going to attach them to the card because, again, I found that it was just too difficult to make all of this pop up without it being too fragile. Okay. Actually, I don't know if I like that single one. Let's see if we can get away with this. I think it's just going to be too much. Oh, yeah, it's just way too much. Okay, forget it. All right, but I do need glue dots for this. So let's glue those candles down, and then we're going to put glue dots on that. Okay. So again, using my fine tipped glue, which is a lifesaver. Glue that down kind of at an angle. Again, it just gives it more interest. Glue this. Okay, like that. Oop. Glue on my fingers without fail. And then, again, this pokey tool comes in so handy, especially when it comes to taking glue dots off of a roll and sticking them on the back of something like this. Okay. And that, I'm gonna put it right on top of the candle there so it doesn't blend in with the background too much. Great. Okay. A little pokey tool. Grab a glue dot. Stick it on top of this. Some people like to put these stick this piece right onto this, but I find that too hard to manage. Look at that. And plus I just love using my pokey tool. Okay. I think we're good. I'm super happy with how this turned out. Yummy lish. So anyway, just to go back over with what we used today. So we used the not 29 anymore, and then we also used the Cake Day stamp set and dies. So I will put links to all these coordinating products on my site down below, and let me know what you think. I've got some great ideas on how to use these on layouts too, so stay tuned. I'll be doing a layout using this this cake stamp and die set as well. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Bye.